We're in a position where we have time and still do to prepare. For some of us, it is getting stressful. Here to help us is Dr. Amin-Addo from Good Samaritan Medical Center. What are some of the physical symptoms of that stress due to the storm?
Well, understand that stress in times like this is a very common phenomenon. And so any sense of impending anxiety, stress, unease, a fear of dread or foreboding under these circumstances is quite normal. It's not necessarily akin to a disease state, but there are certain physical manifestations which we refer to typically as the somatic manifestations of anxiety.
And it's very real.
Very real, very real. And so there are patients who might even end up in an emergency room with chest pain, thinking that they're having a heart attack. A heart may be racing, having palpitations. You can have issues of GI upset with the diarrhea, abdominal symptoms, certainly elevated blood pressure, headache. So the spectrum of symptoms in anxiety states is extremely broad, as is the differential diagnoses for anxiety, because it's typically also related to a manifestation of other disease systems in pretty much, the entire spectrum of what we deal with in internal medicine.
Okay, you kind of already addressed this, doctor, in that one answer, but is this something we should just toss aside, or how seriously should we take this?
Well, we should take it extremely seriously. I mean, remember that inclement weather, hurricanes, essentially have always been a fact of life in Florida and in the Palm Beaches, and will always continue to be. That is why it is essential that we not over sensationalize or focus on the more sensational aspects of what may be a true, natural disaster that may be portended for us in the area. However, what is important for us to focus on is, instead of tuning into the cacophony and the significant exaggerations about certain of the situations about what might happen. Right. What you're doing, which is a great service to the community, in emphasizing the actual facts about this and enabling people to prepare, have a plan in place, is absolutely essential to maintaining or at least de-escalating the kinds of stress that we all feel during this time period.
And ways to get rid of some of that stress. We talked about breathing exercises, yoga. I've heard of some Florida residents having hurricane parties or even something like that to get your mind off of it. How beneficial are those distractors?
Well, certainly, our friends, the psychotherapists, typically emphasize the aspects of cognitive behavioral therapies, and they include all of these things. They include the devotional activity, prayer, and other things that people might do in situations like this to de-escalate and minimize the types of stresses that they're exposed to. What we need to always emphasize is to make sure that people have a plan. In these situations, diseases that may actually exist for patients who may have mental illness actually do manifest themselves. And it is important that that support be out there in the community for them. And so having a party whilst you wait for a hurricane might not be such a bad idea to help some of the family that may be overstressed to cope with this.
Okay, I'll be there for the party. I just invited myself over. Thank you so much, doctor. Well, there we have it. Mental preparation important as well. We'll continue to keep you guys updated. For now, though,